Hello, and welcome to this week's Den for the Detail podcast. I'm Rob Parkinson, and we're here talking all things Salford Devils. Joining the show this week, as ever, we've got Paul Parkin. How's your week been, mate?
Yeah, not too bad, pal. Not too bad. We're early on. Obviously, a couple of days in. It's been okay. A little bit frantic with appointments and that kind of thing as you do, but no, generally not too bad. Not rained. That's a good thing. So got plenty of washing done. But yeah, no. Other than that, it's been an interesting start to the week. Certainly, Salford related. There's plenty going on. So, but yeah, no complaints from me. Just wanted to get a little bit warmer, maybe. But other than that, all's good at this end. How's things in the Parkinson household?
Yeah, I had my COVID booster yesterday. Got the old shakes last night in the old in bed sweats. Didn't react good, but need to have it because a little bit of sweating is better than the other option, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so. I keep getting told off by my medical professional of a partner who demands that I go and get me vaccine again. I think I've had 4. Another one. Joke this. But yeah, I'll have to get onto that. Obviously, you've got to be very careful. I think we've seen what can happen. So wise move. Get it done. Like you say, it's short-term pain for hopefully long-term gain in many ways.
Especially when I got it was it last November, around about Halloween time, and it was then at the time when it was like a 10-day thing.
Yeah.
And day 3 and day 7, I was like, I think I was blowing up at like 39 sort of degrees. If it had gone any higher, I would have had to go to the hospital, I think. But luckily, I think it was paracetamol. I went back down again, but I was rough. So it is important, if obviously you do get the opportunity to get your jab, to go and get it and keep you and everyone else safe. There's loads to get at. This week, we're going to look back at the Paul Rowley's men's victory against Catalan Dragons. We'll look back at Chris Bates' ladies' defeat at Featherstone Rovers. We've got all the big news coming out of the club with our special Reds and Rising share thing going on and other news as well. And then we're going to have a talk about the season so far. So we'll start with the game against Catalan. So Salford Red Devils were victorious against Catalan Dragon. They beat Catalan 16 points to 14. Parker. It was a tough old game, but a win is a win.
Yeah, I was absolutely delighted. Really, I mean, the face probably didn't say it at the end. Well, until they missed that kick. But I thought in the first half, I thought we looked really good at times. I thought we looked not back to our beautiful flowing best, but still there was signs that we could do something. And with key players missing, especially on that that left sort of wing centre partnership being completely broken apart. I thought we looked okay. We weren't brilliant, but we were pretty good against what is a really good Catalan team who got players back into the squad from injury. They looked strong, and it could have been a game that could have easily gone against us. But for the first half, I thought we were really, really, really good, and then obviously the game changed completely in the second half. We didn't. Again, that problem of us not getting enough meters, not getting out of our half. There are many reasons for that, and not all of our own doing. But that defensive effort that we put in that second half was incredible. And I think it just shows what a special group of players we've got, because we could have crumbled. And we've said it a lot of times. A few years ago, Salford of old would have conceded 40 points in that game. No doubt about it. We'd have fell apart. It would have been like jigsaw in a box. But we were so resilient, time after time, having to go back to our line and do it again. And again, at times, I think it breaks the opposition. I don't think they know what to do. And then, like I say, against a decent Catalan team. So I think overall, it's another great win that I don't think we'll realise until later in the season how good these wins are.
Defence wins matches, attack shows by how many. That's what they say, don't they? And I thought, like you said, they were tremendous defensively. Catalan with them big forwards rolling on, and people just laying the bodies on the line just to stop the score. And it's obviously, like you said, will be another moment where you look back through the season and you won't particularly remember that. And you'll think, oh yeah, you'll think of the big moments, but that last 10, 15 minutes against Catalan Dragons where they were coming and looking to to take the points, and we were tremendous in defence. And you can't, obviously, the players sort of knew how important it was that they got the points. Obviously, it's all about getting on a roll. We're 3 on the spin now, which is great, and you just kind of hoping. Obviously, they'll have a week off now, won't they? Recharge the batteries and get ready for the next challenge.
Yeah, I think again, just going back at that, we had major issues in the second half getting out of our. I don't think we did get out of our half. To be fair, at any point, I'd be amazed how many times if we did. Except for we got the penalty obviously early on, which was wisely kicked, and so it proved in the end. But that's what you do. You're in the lead like that. Just keep edging and edging, take whatever you can. But the defence, I mean, the players must have been out on the feet anyway. So to make any meters out of there was going to kill us. But it shows. I mean, some of them lads are obviously, you can see in them that they're hurting. That that a few of them are broken at the moment, and this sort of best part of 2 weeks really to get off now. He's going to be massive for the club, massive chance for the lads to go away, recharge, and come back. But they're going away on the back of 3 wins. And they're 3 very, very tough wins that could have all gone the opposite way. We could have lost all 3 of them at any point. I know they were all close games, but I do also think we were probably the better team in all of them, for large parts. So, no, it was a brilliant effort. Some really standout performances, players putting their bodies on the line just time after time, and it's just, I think it just goes to show what they've got, and later in the season, these are key wins that are going to help us stay in them playoffs. And fingers crossed, we get players back and we get back to our best when the sun's out and the pitches are perfectly dry. And it wasn't too bad the other day, but and then when we are, if we do click, we are going to be a very dangerous team. But that work rate is second to none. The defence working for each other, fighting for each other. It's so sort of heartwarming to see, really.
Joined by Paul Whiteside. Paul, keeping Britain warm. How's your day been?
Yeah, busy. Been in Wigan today, actually. I went to. I was a bit busy around dinner time, and I had a job cancelled, and then I caught a bit of time up and coming at the centre of Wigan. I thought I could murder something to eat and get a sarnie or something. And I come across the Tesco's, which used to be Central Park. So I thought, they'll just park up in here. So I had a wander inside there, and they had some old photographs in there. I had a wander around, and I was trying to work out where the pitch would be and think, because I know the River Douglas went down the side, didn't it? And that, and it's interesting, a bit nostalgic, really. So, I'm a bit of a geek like that sometimes. Stuff. But do you know who I think I saw though? And I'm sure it was him. I was coming back out of Wigan after I was working in the college. I was coming through the town centre. There was a car turning at the lights. It was Joe Burgess opposite me at the lights. I'm sure it was him because I could tell. I thought, that's Joe Burgess. Then he drove past me, and I'm 99% certain it was him. But he didn't see me. But so good day.
Walking around Tesco, massive eyes, shoplifters, security is thinking, what's he doing? Mooching around aimlessly.
I only go in for a monster and a sandwich, mate. Get myself a bit of energy boost.
Yeah. So, talk about the Catalan win. Your thoughts on that?
Oh, I thought it was a great win. I thought it was a physical, tough rugby league game, wasn't it? I mean, sometimes people say, "Oh, it's not as good when there's not loads of tries," and that game was exciting. Don't have to have a load of tries in it. I mean, I don't even think we got over the halfway line in the second half. It was just wave after wave of sort of Catalan attack, and I've not seen defence like that for a long time. The way they kept them out, the grit, the determination. That's what winning sides and sort of playoff challenging sides are built on. And I was thrilled, absolutely thrilled to get the result. And we're doing it tough anyway. I think you were just saying there about the players that are missing. You could see them all sat in front of us in the stand on Sunday. So to do it tough like we're doing against, Catalan's no mugs. They're a tough side, and I thought I was absolutely thrilled with the result.
Yeah, obviously my main concern is that we can't get out of our 40. And obviously we're moaning because we're fifth in the league, looking up rather than down, Parky. But it is, teams know that they squeeze us early in the tackle count and we struggle, and all we can do is kick out from our 40 and try and force errors. And it seemed every time an error was forced, we went up towards the Catalan line and either scored or nearly scored. A bit more composure would have added a few more points. But I don't know how you fix that because of obviously the way rally ball works.
You don't really. I think the problem is when we know what it is, we haven't got the forwards, as in the size and the bulk, to get us on a roll like that. I do think at times, especially on Sunday, I think Catalan were very good at keeping us on the ground a little bit longer than they should in the tackle. To slow our play the ball down, so it makes it slightly more difficult. So other than going out and signing, 3 massive props, which clearly is not going to happen, we have to stick with what the way we play. It was worrying in the second half because obviously you're then always on the back foot. You're never out your own half. You've got to defend a lot more. But I think bringing the likes of Tim Laffey back in will definitely help because he causes havoc when he's got the ball. He knocks people over. He takes 2 or 3 men in. He gets the quick play the ball. He'll get an offload, and he'll create that space for us to make the meters that we need. Kenny Seo's another one when he's, he comes from the back line and he comes inside and he drives the ball in. He causes problems and he gets us on a roll. Joey Burgess is very good at it. Yeah, you get them players together. Probably bringing back an Alex Gerrard with his extra size. He's going to help eventually when we can get them all on the pitch. But until then, that's not the way it works. But so we've got to rely on other parts of the game, which, as we've said already, was our defence this week. Yeah. You just got to put that extra work in. We're not going forward greatly, which does need fixing. But like you also said, when we do get the chance, we're a very dangerous side. And I think teams will look at it and think, they may think, well, if we pin them down there, we know they're not a threat. But then they've got to work out how to score past us. I mean, how many points have we actually conceded in the last few weeks? Not many, or not greatly in terms of the possession and position on the pitch. So how many points have actually been scored against us? If you weighed that up, it's actually, it's a fantastic effort. So I'm not overly worried. Like I said, we're not playing scintillating rugby at the moment. We're not maybe as at our peak. But when we do get to our peak, that's, all this is great signs. We've got all this resilience behind us. We know how to win games. We know how to do it tough. But also, when we can get that flair going, we know how good we're going to be.
Yeah, sign of a good side. Paul, don't play well, still win.
Yeah, I know. I get what you're saying as well. And when you think to the playoffs and like grand finals and things like that, how many grand finals and playoff games are won by scintillating rugby? They're not. It's always peeing it down and someone wins 12-10 or something. So you have got to be masters at grinding wins out as well. Yeah, we all want to see, the good rugby and that, but it's horses for courses, isn't it? You've just got to go with what you've got. And at the moment, like you said, you just reamed off there. Tim Laffey, Parky said Tim Laffey and Ken Seal. They're 2 massive holes out of the team. Look how many yards Tim Laffey makes. Look how hard Tim Laffey is to tackle. Not taking anything away from Matty Costello and Rhys Williams, who've been terrific for us. So yeah, we do lack a bit of grunt in the forwards. I think Gerrard's a big miss for us. He's a big man, takes a lot of tackling. I think he's been a miss. I don't know what's up with Adam Sidlow. He's been out for a while, hasn't he, as well? We've not seen him last few weeks. He's another big man. But yeah, teams have worked us out a bit. I think you watch us now and some of the moves and that we tried last season. I think teams have cottoned onto it and they're a bit wiser to it. But like Parky just said there, look how many points we conceded. I thought the defence was great against Cass. I thought it was brilliant against Catalans. I mean, you look at the Wigan game. The Wigan game was a real battle, and we ran out of troops, didn't we? Otherwise, we would have won that game. So, how many have we won now? Well, the games that we've lost, we've been unlucky in quite a few of them. We've not been absolutely battered, have we? So, I've been pleased with it with the start of the season. I was thrilled to bits with that win against Catalan.
Yeah, just have a quick look through the timeline of the game. Salford opened the scoring. King Bunny crashing over the line. Lovely assist by Andy Ackers Parky to send the big Fijian over.
Yeah, I mean, we missed Andy while he was out, didn't we? What a difference he makes to the team. He's a leader as well. He's very vocal on the pitch when you watch him. He's always, guiding us round. But yeah, a little bit of class from him there. I didn't think King was going to make it, to be honest. I thought he was going to crash before the line. I was terrified. But no, delight for the big guy to get over for a score. And we scored first for a change, which is something we don't generally do. We always go behind. So when we scored first, I thought, is that a bad sign? I'm not dead sure. But no, it got us off to a great start, didn't it? Something to build from, which we did, really.
Yeah, bit of game management then. Mark Steed kicks a penalty, Paul, but then Tom Johnson hits back with a try from Catalan from a scrum, ball over the top. Our defence rushes in again, gets caught out, goes over in the corner.
That come from Mark Sneed coughing the ball, didn't it, from the kickoff, I think. Didn't he make a mess of the kickoff? I mean, he nearly made a mess of another one, but he fumbled forward. He did really well to take that one in. So, yeah, it came from a mistake, really. You can't really give that Tom Johnston room. He's a good player, isn't he? One thing I noticed with him, he's got fantastic upper body strength and all. He's so hard to tackle, and he's really is a big lad. So, yeah, it was a disappointing try to concede, but, that Johnson's a good finisher, and he finished that well.
Yeah. And then 2 minutes before half time, Joe Burgess Parker lights up the Salford City Stadium with a 80-metre burst, slides over the line with Tom Johnson in pursuit, and Salford go into half time leading 14-4.
Yeah, really good break from Joe, and that's what I'm saying. When he brings it out of backfield, he is a dangerous player. And any broken field, any defender, having a second to himself, he'll target him and he'll go. And then once he was through the gap, I know he got caught, kind of, but I didn't think he was ever not going to score. I really just thought he was going, and then you could see his legs sort of going a little bit as he got close to the line. And I think he said himself, didn't he, in the interview after the game, that was more him concentrating on what was behind him rather than just pinning his ears back and thinking, I'm going to score. I think he was too worried about being caught. I think if he'd just gone, he'd have scored anyway. But no, it was a great try, and that's the kind of stuff we love to see. That's Salford. That's what we want to see. Reece Williams got the ball, quick tap. Let's get on with it. Let's play. And off we go. But it was a good chase. It was a good chase, and I just want to echo what Paul said there about Johnson. If he stays fit, I think he's probably, along with probably Tommy Makinson, the best winger in certainly in English winger, and should be international. I do worry though, because a few times again on the weekend he went down holding his knee, and he's got problems with that. So that might hold his career back. But he's a superb player, and Paul. So when he was in front of us, I didn't realise how big he actually is. He's a big winger. So not surprised he nearly caught Joe, but no, we held on, and it was a great try.
Yeah, we call Joe Burdish the Rolls Royce of a winger. Just glides, doesn't seem to be going very fast, but able to go into fifth gear and show people a clean pair of heels. Paul, and obviously Tom Johnson tried his best to catch him, but he used the weather conditions to his advantage and slid over.
He did. I tell you what, that referee, that Chris Kendall, kept up with him and all, didn't he? If you watched the replay,
yeah,
he's right there, isn't he? So he must be able to shift a bit. So it was a good try though, and I think we deserved that 10-point lead at half time. I think there was a time there where Catalan were attacking before we got that try, and I remember thinking, blimey, we could go in here behind here. We've had all this possession this first half, and they could wind up going in front. So I think we deserved the 10-point lead at half time. It was justice that for a real good first half from us, and like you said before, we probably should have had a few more points on the board, but no, a 14-4 lead. I think that did the first half justice.
Yeah, so second half, we struggled to get out of our 20. Catalan Dragons turned up the pressure. Try from Paul Seguer, kick through. Our defence not able to deal with it. He pounces on the ball to score, Parker.
Yeah, he should have been dealt with, really. I'm not going to bag Ellis Longstaff for it, but he hasn't played a lot, whether he was totally on it, and he was playing in the centre because obviously what happened to Matty Costello, which I don't know if anyone's actually had a close look at that, but that seemed like a bad incident. Anyway, but yeah, it's just one of them bounces. It could have gone anywhere, couldn't it? Or he could have got his hand to it and knocked it dead, or he just didn't. It was ifs and buts, and fair play to the Catalan lad. He was there to pounce, but bit of bad luck at that point in the game, and that's where you start to think, here we go. This is they've come out fired up. They'll be obviously they've had a bit of a rocket off McNamara at half time, and this could get tricky. And I think we knew that there was going to be an onslaught anyway from an excellent sort of Catalan team. So that was when it was time to dig in, and fight for each other, because one player's made an error there really in judgment with the ball. Let's work for each other and make sure that's not going to cost us in the end.
Yeah. So wave after wave after wave of Catalan attack. We repel them until the last 2 minutes, Paul, when Kieran cuts back inside, slides over the line to make it 16-14 with a kick to come. How do you feel?
Yeah, well, to be honest with you, that second half, I always thought it was quite comfortable. Was dealing with them. I did think Catalan sort of dragged us into a bit of a niggle fest. I thought they were really, really niggling. I thought some massive hits going in. It seemed to me that the game was going to boil over at one point because there was some monstrous hits going in. One player who I think he's retiring at the end of the season, Sam Tompkins, and I think he needs to because he was in the referee's ear that much. And to me, when a player goes like that, his legs are gone. He's whinging at the referee all the time. I think you need to retire. So I thought he was out of order. I thought there was a lot of cheap shots going in there as well from him. And yeah, he did kick off a few times, didn't it? But no credit to us. I thought they'd kick that goal and take it to extra time. I didn't think that was going to miss. It looked all right, like a fairly steady kick, but it was brilliant when it missed. It was tremendous. Louise Fellingham was sat next to me, and she was going mad. So no, it was great that when that missed. We give each other an high five, and it was it was good. But we forgot there's still 10 seconds left, so they're getting the ball back. But no, I think to be honest with you, I thought in the build up to that try, they knocked it on. They played the ball. I'm sure they did. So I think we got what we deserved out of the game. I think we thoroughly deserved the 2 points.
Yeah, it was Don Fox all over again, Parker.
Yeah, I didn't watch the kick. I put my head down, watched it, and listened to the cheer, and it was the loudest noise I'd heard out of the stadium for about 2 years. I think it was unbelievable. But I had a feeling. I don't know why. I just had a feeling he was going to miss. I don't know what it was. I mean, it wasn't a difficult kick, but I think he's a left footer, and kicking from that side's a little bit more difficult, isn't it? So you're going across. But no, I mean, we're lucky to get away with that in that way, but it's a poor refereeing decision that nearly costs us. If that goes into golden point extra time, they get the ball and drop a goal, we get nothing out of the game. That's a knock on. He didn't knock on as in onto the floor. He knocked it back onto his own player's foot, who played the ball in front of him, from what I can recall. Therefore, it is a knock on. And you saw the Catalan players all sort of sigh as if say, "Oh, we've lost it. That's it, game." And the Salford players all put their hands up to say, "Referee's knocked on." The less said about Chris Kendall, I think the better from me, because I'll probably end up getting sued or something. But I thought the first half he refereed the game brilliantly. I thought he was out of the game really. He wasn't involved. He let the game go. In the second half, it felt like somebody had perhaps, I don't know, had a bet that Salford would get beat. I'm not saying who, but some of the decisions were a bit strong and he didn't get them right. There was one where I think it was Tompkins who kicked off on our try line when he'd lost the ball, and he starts trying to throw digs, and I think it was Almonroyd who may have been on the floor at the time, and the referee pulls him out and gives a scrum. Well, he's dropped the ball, but he's actually then gone to hit a player. It's a penalty. There's no, we're on our try line. He gives us a scrum in front of our own post, which is of no advantage. Another one he got wrong. And there was so many. I can't work him out. I don't know whether he's got something against us but anyway, we overcame that. And that's another sign that, sometimes we're not going to get the calls. Well, we rarely do, but when, you've got to make the most of it when you do. But no, brilliant effort. And then missing that kick, like you say, it was just the relief, the side, because we deserved it. It would have been an injustice if we hadn't won that game.
Yeah, it was meant to be. What will be, will be. And he misses the kick because he was supposed to. So, yeah, so Salford were victorious. I spoke to Chris Atkin, Matty Costello and Sam Stone after the game, and this is what they had to say. So, obviously, Paul, the boys, all sort of happy with the result and looking forward to a week off.
Yeah, they've got a week off, I think, haven't they? Or a couple of days off this week anyway. So I think they deserve it. I think, just speaking to the players after the match, they've had some tough games. I mean, it's been a tough month. The Cass game was an hard game, wasn't really a hard-fought game. The Catalans game, and they played Lee. The Wigan game, they've all been really, really hard-fought matches. And when you've got a small squad and they're all doing big minutes, you need that bit of a refresh now, don't you? And, perhaps have a few, massages and ice baths or whatever they do to go swimming and all that carry on, to just rest your muscles up and then go. We've got a big game at Leeds, haven't we, next up? So it doesn't get any easier. But I think if you ask Paul Rowley, where we are at the moment with 12 points, I think he'd be over the moon. It's a terrific start to the season. And, we're starting to look consistent as well now, 3 games on the spin. And, like people have said, supporters have said, not playing like out of this world, but winning matches, and the effort and endeavour from the players, I think, has been top notch, absolutely top notch. And yeah, I think there's a few players that looked a bit tired. I think at the weekend, Tyler Dupree looked absolutely goosed, didn't he, coming off at the end? So I think, you know, this little sort of international sort of break. Well, he won't get a break. He's in the England squad, isn't he? But the rest of the players that, you know, need that bit of time off to recuperate, I think, and then come back stronger the week after.
Yeah, looking at the stats, top tacklers, Callum Watkins 28, Andy Ackers 43, Sam Stone 34, Oliver Patterson 34, and Tyler Dupree 29. Parker, all putting a shift in there.
Yeah, I thought Watkins did more than that. I thought he was involved in every tackle in that second half. He seemed to be involved in all sorts. Yeah, I want to mention Sam Stone. I've been really impressed with him over the last few weeks. I think he's getting better and better. I thought at the start he looked, I don't know if he was going to be our type of player, but when you watch his work rate, and he's really coming into the game, so I'm glad to see him getting a mention there. Because I noticed that Shane Wright didn't play big minutes this week. He seems to spend a lot of time off the park, so whether he's carrying or not, another one. So this break has come at the right time, like Paul said. It gives us, you know, a chance to rest. But a lot of hard work. Andy Ackers, again, there, you know, putting in a proper shift in defence there. I mean, that's, you know, it's a lot of work. But they spread it about, you know, but they're all helping each other. And I think, you know, we lost Matty Costello, so you're down a man. It was a great effort, but a lot of defence there, a lot of work in that second half.
Yeah. Top meter makers, Joe Burgess 158, Reece Williams 88, and the forwards Sam Stone 63, Callum Watkins 67, Tyler Dupree 75, and Shane Wright 60. Paul.
What was that? Meters makers, that you said? Yeah. Well, you know, it was tough for the forwards, wasn't it? You know, like we said before, Catalan's got a big pack, and I think we knew what they were going to do, come and try and steamroll us. But for me, they didn't bust us. I don't think they really bust us down the middle at all. I mean, the tries, I know it was 3 tries to 2 to Catalan's, wasn't it? But they didn't break through and smash us down the middle. And I thought our forwards did well. I thought it was a real tough game. We didn't, like you said, in that second half, we didn't really get out of our own half. But, you know, sometimes you've got to, you know, put your, what's the word I'm looking for? Put your
foot forward.
No, put your something to the wheel, I think it is, isn't it?
Shoulder.
Shoulders to the wheel, that's the one. Cheers, bro. It's been a long day. You know, yeah, so you've got to just muscle it out, haven't you? And they talk about the arm wrestle, don't they, and things like that in the modern day rugby league. And it was a massive arm wrestle, and we came up on the other side of it.
It's like audio catchphrase then.
What's Mr. Chip doing now?
Yeah. So big thanks for your 3-word match reports of man of the matches. Mark, we dug deep. Burgess, Trev. He wasn't happy with Sam Tompkins. Watkins. Colin Wilson, defence wins matches. Watkins. Richard Martin, superb, resolute defence. Watkins. Chairman Bob, Dirty Dragon, Slayed, King V. David Deakin, defence was immense, every single one of them. Matt Young, attack still clunky, Williams. Ricky Peeney's dogs in sale. Salford tip scales, Croft. Dr. Gareth Lyons, slay the Dragons on St. George's Day. Matt, some defensive effort, Dupree. Andy Lancashire, hold my breath, Burgess. OFS, top defensive effort, Watkins. Anita, she wet her pants, Croft. Parker, you said unbelievable defensive effort, Watkins. Natalie Taylor, poor referee again. Reece Williams, Paul Whiteside's mate, Roy Ellaby, great defensive effort, Callum Watkins. Nicholas Fletcher, effort not clinical, Watkins. Patrick Conley, far too tense, Watkins. Alan Rowley, Andy Ackers for England. Dave H, defence. David Snape, incredible defence. Callum Watkins, Park. A lot of people talking about the efforts in defence, and like we've said, you know, it's a massive part of the game. If your defence is solid, you'll win matches.
Yeah, and it's just that extra effort, that turning up for each other, and you know, I mean, they must have been so drained at times in that second half, but they never slacked off. They never give, you know, Catalan a minute really, and like Paul said there, they never really came through us. You know, despite all the ball they had and all the territory, we really muscled up. We were excellent in defence, and like you say, you know, they scored a try off a kick which the bounce favours them. They get a try at the end where yeah, I mean, it's a good finish by the guy, but it shouldn't have been at that point. It should have been a scrum, and they wouldn't have had the ball anyway. So I think defence does win your games. It's a simple statement, isn't it? But it does, and so some of them efforts. I mean, Callum Watkins got a lot of mentions there. That's why I was surprised. I thought he did about 700 tackles, but anyway, he was always there, and he never seems to be out on his feet. Never seems to be tired. So massive credit to him. Obviously, I mean, a top pro, but no, they make sense. The man of the match reports are absolutely spot on.
Yeah, I said funny old game. Atkin, Chris Fisher, unbelievable in defence. Croft, Tom Kitchen used to lose those. Burgess, Andrew Jackson, great defensive effort. Dupree, Myla Murphy, close, good enough. Burgess, Mike Farrell, good old Solly, and that's it. So big thanks to you three with match puts man of match. It's always great, Paul, when people give us their reaction just after full time. You get a good picture of what people think.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, because it's like it's coming from your heart, isn't it? I suppose when you say it straight after the match, when you couldn't disagree with any of them, really. I mean, I think you could have given it probably anybody. I think there was some massive efforts, like you said there, Callum Watkins. I was working with a lad who work with quite a lot. He's a Wakefield supporter, and we were chatting today actually, and he was saying about Watkins, how good he is for you, and how they could do with someone like that in their team. And I think we're blessed to have him. Really, I think he's been tremendous this season. And I think the only time he did look tired on Sunday was when he was banging that drum at the end in the changing rooms. So now he gets through an absolute stack of work. And like Parker said, I think with Callum as well, it's his experience. He's got a massive experience, and that'll rub off on other players as well. That leadership on the pitch. So yeah, he'd probably go down as my man of the match. I thought Chris Atkin as well came off the bench, did a great job. I don't want to call him a super sub because I think he's more than that. But at the moment, that's what he's been. He's doing this interchange role with Oliver Partington. I think he's given us another dimension. There's so much teams have to think about when he comes on. He's got a good kicking game. He's very clever. He's another pivot as well. So yeah, I thought Chris played well. But I think for me, I'd go with Callum Watkins. I think he just edged it. I thought he was fabulous.
Yeah. So let's move on to our ladies. They were in Challenge Cup action this weekend. They played Featherstone Rovers. Unfortunately, they were defeated 22 points to 8 on the community pitches outside the Salford City Stadium on Sunday. Parker. It was a tough game. Battling performance from Chris Bates' ladies. Unfortunately, had a few injuries with Sam Evans and Louise Fellingham both going off injured during the game. So even despite having sort of a lack of sort of creative pivots, they still battled on, but unfortunately to defeat.
Yeah, it's a shame. First crack at the cup competition. It'd be nice to have a little run for the girls, but in some way it could be a blessing, because it's going to be a very tough season. Again, a bit like the men's team, we probably have got the biggest squad, and you start losing players, and your league form will take a hit doing that. So, trying to look on the bright side of it, it may not be, a massive drama. It'd be lovely to have a nice cup run in the first chance at it. But coming up against Fev, we mentioned last week, like Cass, proper, rugby league town, and they'll have no problem, bringing players in and that kind of thing. They'll all know the game inside out, which many of our girls are still learning on the run, really. So yeah, disappointing, but at the same point, just got to look up. We've had that one league game, we've won that. We can just concentrate on that now. There's there's nothing to sidetrack us. But yeah, injuries are going to be part and parcel. It is going to be tough this year, and that's just an early indication of how tough it could be.
Yeah, second half, Paul, no subs. Obviously, Louise Fellingham going off. Liana Leota, head collision with Louise Fellingham, so she went off. Sam Evans went off injured as well. So obviously, when you've got no bench to sort of rotate, it becomes a very difficult game.
Yeah, it does, and I think the Featherstone side, they've been together for a number of years, haven't they, that team? And they're quite experienced, and it was a tough game. They're a good side, but no, I spoke to Louise in the half time in the second half, and she had I was sat next to her actually, and she had a right shiner, and she'd had to have, I think, 6 or 7 stitches as well. So luckily the doctor was there, so they sorted it out. Otherwise, she probably would have gone to hospital. So she's really in the wars in that game, and I think that just shows you the commitment levels that the ladies are putting in. You know, real bruising and counter, and sometimes you get that, don't you? And they just run out of numbers there. Really, you can't play without any subs. Really, you're going to really struggle.
Yeah. Fev opened the scoring. Ellie Lamb scored out wide after 2 minutes, and then 7 minutes later, Salford got on the board from Vicky Kinney. Out wide, quick hands. She dived over in the corner. It was 4-4, Parker.
Yeah, obviously a tight sort of first period, and it's when it gets tough that we're going to find out how good our girls are. We know how good they can be, and we've seen it all last year, and watching the Cass game last week, they were brilliant. But it's when the times get hard and you do lose key players, that's when it gets tough. So I expected them to start big. I really did, because I think from what I'd seen on social media and they were really up for the cup, really. Quite a bit, a bit of excitement around it, and it being at home, and having our own supporters around. So yeah, they would have been keyed up, and you have to get off to a bit of a flyer. But again, you're playing against the next level of players at the moment. This is a huge step. We're not just going to dominate games at times. We're scoring 40, 50, 60 points. These are a lot better than what we used to, and it's going to take us a little bit of time to get used to that, to get used to the arm wrestles. And so there's no disappointment there in coming off the game defeated. But we were in it. We were in the game for periods, and that's all we can ask for at the moment.
Yeah, so we had 20 minutes of arm wrestles then, and then Fev scored through Billington, and then 5 minutes later we had the big head collision between Fellingham and Leota, so they both went off, and then 3 minutes before half time, Billington went over for Feverson to take them into half time, leading 12-4. Paul.
Say that again, Rob. Sorry, miles away then.
Basically, Fev went into half time, leading 12-4 after us losing Louise Fellingham and Liana Leota had a head collision. Both went off, both key players, and Fev took advantage just for half time.
Yeah, well, that's what good teams do, don't they? They'll spot the advantage there. Obviously, they took advantage of that. And yeah, it was always going to be tough then. It was going to be a massive ask, wasn't it? You lose your pivots and, you lose that experience and that leadership as well. And, Feverson, decent side, aren't they, as I said before? And, it was just unfortunate with it. But I think the good thing is, like we were saying before, the Challenge Cup, it's not a knockout, is it, for the ladies? It's it's a group game, isn't it? So they can come again. They've got other chances, haven't they? I was just looking at the scores today. So there is, I think there's 3 or 4 teams in the group. So they have got another chance, to come back.
Yeah, so second half started well for Salford. Sage Bannister scored, kicked by Demi Jones. Sage Bannister collected and went over in the corner. I like the look of this Sage Bannister. I saw her against Wigan at fullback. She caught everything, made some great tackles. She played on the wing this week. I think Kate Gary went off injured. She went on the wing, and she made a tackle, made a sort of some weaving runs. Parker, I think she'll add a lot to this squad.
Yeah, and it's we obviously need a fresh injection as well on top of the the girls that we had from last year. You've got to freshen the squad up and bring in new talent along the way. But you mentioned there again, players that are missing, players that are injured, and that's the big key this year for us. We're not going to be able to just carry on without these players. I mean, Louise is a massive indicator of how good we are. She's on the park. We've got a great chance. I know last week Demi didn't play. We got the win and a great win, but it's tricky. And then obviously Sam goes missing, and we can't afford to keep picking up injuries like that with the size of squad that we've got. It is going to have a massive impact, and especially like I say, someone like Louise, who's she's the general, and she's the one that leads us around, and you can become a little bit rudderless at times. And once you've lost the game that way, it's very difficult to get back on top.
Yeah. So 12-8 at that point. 5 minutes later, Chloe Walter scored to make it 16-8. Salford had a disallowed try, Tasca Curran, unfortunately not given by the referee. And then 5 minutes later, Lamb scored for Feverson to put the dagger through the Salford Arts. And condemn us to our first Challenge Cup defeat, Paul?
Yeah. It's disappointing to lose any game, Rob, isn't it? But I think with all the adversity there in that game, it was always going to be a tough second half, wasn't it? In battered and bruised team, but heads held high. You can move on from that, and you can learn a lot from defeats sometimes, can't you? And it battle hardens you as well. So I'm sure the ladies will bounce back from that. But no, it was a tough day at the office.
Yeah, I spoke to Chris Bates after the game. This is what he had to say. So that was Chris Bates talking to me after the game. Parkin, obviously, he was proud that his ladies put the effort in. He says that he competed against one of the favourites in the division there, and it shows how far they've come.
Yeah, it's just a learning curve, isn't it? As well, we've said it about the reserves in the in the last few weeks, that every week they're going to pick up something new. They're getting just the craft of the game and things like that. You can pick up a lot by defeat. You'll learn a lot in defeat, and playing against Fev, it was always going to be tough for us. I was hoping that maybe a bit of home advantage and such might help. It didn't, but yeah, he's got to be happy. The progress we've made in such a short time is massive. So even to be competing at this level, the teams we were putting big scores on last year, can you imagine what would have happened to them if they'd have played Fev this week? So that's where we've come from in the space of 12 months or slightly more. So he will be happy. He'll know that they'll get better, and we'll learn more, and we'll be more competitive going forward.
Yeah, so that's the review of both our matches this week, and now we'll look at all the big news coming out of the club. So we'll start with the big news. Red rides together, Parker. It's a thing the club have brought out to try and sort of generate some income, and we all get a share in the club. Exciting times.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity, isn't it? We all sit there and say they should do this, they should do that. Why don't the club do this? Well, now's a chance. You put your money where your mouth is. You buy your share. You put £100 down, and you'll get your say. You get your day in the sun whenever there's a meeting or whatever. You get to guide where the club goes from now on. There's no need for just people having to grumble about things and moaning about who's in charge or this, that, and the other. I mean, I don't think anybody could moan at the moment because we've been led brilliantly in the last couple of years. And anyone who read the article on Twitter, well, I found it on Twitter. I read it yesterday, but Paul King put together. There's no doubt where his heart is and his heart, and everything else for this club, and he's doing everything that we're doing now for the right reasons. So yeah, it's a great chance for people to get involved. £100 to what? I don't know, $1 million, whatever you want. I don't know, but I know there are stipulations. But we need it. It's a great chance for a cash injection to the club, but it's not going to come from anywhere else except us. Nobody's just going to turn up and drop money on the club's lap. And then it gives us a chance of developing the club further. We do so much on such a shoestring, and on a skeleton staff. Hopefully we could go out and maybe employ a couple of more people to, people. We all moan about, the marketing and that kind of thing. Well, there's no budget at the moment for it, and nobody to actually really take it forward in many ways. So then you can get somebody in, you get a professional to do this. You get, even an outside provider, whatever. But they need the money, and this is a chance for us to put it together. And there's so many things going on at the club, the projects they've got going on, the community side, the teams. We just mentioned the women's team, the reserves, the under-16s, the wheelchair, the learning disability, physical disability. All this needs funding. It all needs money from somewhere, which comes out of one pot, and that pot is also trying to fund a competitive first team, which is, it's what it's all about. It's where it is. If we get a winning team on the pitch, more people turn up. So we can all be part of that now. And I mean, all I can say is just get involved, do it. And no times are hard, very hard for everybody. And someone might say it's only £100. £100 to one person is a lot of money that they haven't got at the moment. But do what you can to get involved, and then you can have your say.
Yeah, I often say our club is the opportunity club. Players come to play Super League and try and reach the next level and take the club with it. This is an opportunity for us fans to invest in the club and help them go to the next level. Yeah, there is sort of little details which we'll go through and the targets which they might have. And if you're in that position that you've got a spare few grand lying about and you have that opportunity to put it into the club, go and do it, because you'll make a difference. Because you don't, in life, you very rarely make a difference, but this is an opportunity to do that, Paul.
Yeah, I think it's probably the only really option, isn't it? We've not got anybody who's come in to sort of say, well, I'll buy the club or I'll put all this money in. So you can't just keep floating along, can you? You have got to pay for things and what have you. But like Parky said, I think we do sort of moan sometimes. Go, oh, why didn't they advertise this? Or why didn't they put posters up for this? Or why didn't they do that? Or why didn't they do? And you can't when you've got no money. You do need people to do it. There's not that many people who work for the club. I mean, you've only got to go to like Leeds or Wigan or St Helens or whatever. Look at the amount of people that work there at the ground. There's, look at, we notice it, don't we? We're doing the interviews in the corridor, right? Every week you'll see the away team, right? And how many staff do they have? Castleford, there's loads of them. All people carrying their bags out. There's about 10 coaches. There's people bringing the pizzas in. There's a load of physio. What's Salford got? We haven't, but you need money to pay these people, don't you? And it's the same right throughout the club. So I think it's a great initiative, and it just gives it that, we say that we're run by the supporters and it's a community run club. Now it will be completely run by the community and by the supporters. And I mean, you're not going to like have people, I put a grand in, I'm going to pick the coach now, or we're signing that player, we're signing this player. You're still going to have people, rugby people, doing the rugby decisions, aren't you? But no, I think it's a great initiative, and the people that we've got at the club, the supporters trust, supporters that people, faces that you see. These people are salt of the earth people, aren't they? I mean, you can ream them off, can't you? It's like doing the register when you come to Salford, isn't it? The people that you're there, you've just known them for years, and the people who've got the club at heart, aren't they? People who love this club, and Paul King's one of those people. So obviously he needs a bit of help, and rather than him just doing it, we're all going to jump on the bandwagon and do it with him, and I think that's the way forward.
Yeah, obviously the details are we're going to try and raise £2 million. The first target is £250,000, and then £1 million, and then the maximum we're going to try and raise is £2 million. The minimum share is £100. The maximum share is £100,000 if you're a business. Basically, they've changed the Salford RD Holdings Limited and converted it to a society from the 19th of December. Don't forget, obviously, the money put in, you could lose. There's no guarantees in that. But they talk about the targets, Paul, and if they get to £250,000, that'll improve the squad and the infrastructure in the club to allow them to possibly get an A rating for the IMG.
Well, yeah, that's important now, isn't it, as well? With this, I mean, I'm a bit cynical about that. I don't think it'll last long. I think that'll all change around again, because it always seems to do in rugby league, doesn't it? Things chop and change, don't you? Like you change your underpants, but we'll have to just watch how that goes. But no, I think for me, what we want is the club to be stable and have a stable future and a positive future. And like it or not, in modern day life now, money's everything, isn't it? I mean, it shouldn't be, but it is. Everything's run by money, sport, entertainment. You only got to look at how expensive things are now. Look at your mortgage. Look at you when you go shopping, and that everything's just gone through the roof. So it's the same in sport. So we need that money there. So yeah, I think it's a great initiative, and I've seen already. I think I've just had a look on Twitter tonight. I got home from work, and I think they've got 50 grand already there, haven't they? So it's been an amazing start in a couple of days.
Yeah, and then when they get over £250,000, Parker, they can look at sort of by creating a museum or a base for the community to sort of come out from. They can get development officers in the local area of Salford and Manchester to grow rugby league participation and get more staff in the club to do more content, and it'll snowball from there.
Yeah, who knows? A shop or a store of some sort. You never know in the long run, depending how successful this is. You know, that's something else we can have input in. Everyone moans about that. You know, well, it costs money to do that. It costs money to hire a space or whatever you want. You get somebody to run it. You know, all right, some people may do it voluntary. I don't know, but at the same point, we need money. So yeah, I think for me, it adds a level of transparency now. And I'm not with the current regime, but previously, as was mentioned in the article I mentioned earlier, that a previous owner who pretended that he was throwing money into the club was actually not doing so and left us in an awful state. We wouldn't know that as fans. We would have no vision of that. Well, now going forward, if you're a shareholder, you know, you can see what's going on. You can say, hang on, this isn't right. You can't, you know, there's no bluffing now. There's no one in direct control in that way. There's nobody it's not a dictatorship. You know, you elect who's going to be your chair and who you trust and who you think's got the club at heart. I mean, for me at the moment, I still don't think there's probably a more outstanding candidate than Paul King anyway. But you never know who comes forward, do you? That's the great thing. And the other thing is, now it gives you input. There's a lot of people, a lot of fans out there with brilliant ideas who never get heard or never come forward with them or what. Now's your chance. You can say something, the club might go, or somebody there go, that's fantastic. Why don't we do that? That's so simple. I mean, not on the same level by any means, but you know, we go back to the Supporters Trust and the sponsor a try thing. Simple, absolutely simple. It brings money in, brilliant. You know, but that on a grander scale, somebody who was at the game on Sunday will have had an idea in the past, or one will come to them that they can now put forward as a shareholder at a meeting or something like that, say, why don't we do this? And it's an option that can be looked at or discussed, and then, you know, an outcome can come from it. I think it's a bit of a no-brainer, really, in that way. There's plenty of risk involved for the club more than anything else. I know you say you may lose your money. I'm not sure you're ever going to get money back. That's not, you know, this is you putting money in. It's not really an investment as such, except in your own love of the club and your entertainment. You're basically, you know, you pay a TV license so you can watch EastEnders. You know, I mean, I'd rather give my money to Salford Rugby League Club so I can continue watching them for the next however long I'm alive. You know, that's the dream, and hopefully we can all be part of this ongoing success. This story that we've got already. Look what we do with no money. Can you imagine what we could do with money? You know, and this is for us now, and it's our chance.
Yeah, like Parky said, you get a community share, but you won't get any dividend if the club make any money. But we're not putting the money in to make the money. We're putting the money in to help the club grow. But there is positives as well, because when they've done the infrastructure, there is going to be like subcommittees they're going to organise for tickets and game day experience. So if you think you've got ideas to add to the mix, you could possibly get on them committees and help the game day experience, Paul.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be people who want to get involved with that, and for all those different things, that much stuff, isn't there, to organise and things like that? It's mind blowing, really, isn't it, when you think about it? But no, I think it's a great start, and just like you were mentioning there about, you know, getting development officers and getting a shop and things like that. These are all massive things, aren't they? That you know, could take us up to be up there with the, you know, the likes of Leeds and St Helens and Wigan and teams like that who've already got that infrastructure. We're probably just a bit behind them, but through no fault of our own. So yeah, it's exciting times. It really is. I think it's a great initiative. I'm just glad that the club have been pioneers in it. Really, you know, we're the first club who've ever come up with something like this. So once again, Salford Rugby League Club is leading the way.
Yeah, so June 2024, when they'll all get it organised in the end and possibly see sort of new directors occur. I think people who are directors now can apply again if they want to as well. So that's something to look forward to. Looking at the different options available to us, you can have an owner share, which is one share, one vote. You get a virtual certificate. You get the ability to stand for election. You get a bi-weekly newsletter. You get a pin badge, and you get a special sort of match day ticket. You know, if we get to a semi-final, I suppose you become the priority packer.
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be benefits in you know, each level of sponsorship or whatever you call it, really. But I don't think any of us would be putting our money in for that. I don't think it's what we, like I say, it's not what we get out, except for having a successful rugby league club, you know, going forward. And I think the other key is, now you just mentioned there that it doesn't really go live till next year, middle of next year, obviously. But if we know in advance how many people are involved, how much money's gone in, how much shares, we can start planning now for next season and beyond. We can say we know what's there, we know what's going to happen. We know we've got an influx of money coming from this to go here, so we can start interviewing for people, or whatever it is. I mean, you can talk to players about contracts and stuff, but actually the infrastructure of the club and putting things in place for the next community project. So to know that money's going to be there, so we've got a year now to get this money and get it sorted and have plans in place, ready to roll straight away.
Yeah, so owner plus option, 1 share, 1 vote, real certificate, same stuff as in the owner category, but you get exclusive content on any kind of open days, etc. You get a year's subscription to RDTV, so that's £250 that you put in for that. Founder Plus is the same as Owner Plus, but you get a 2020. You get involved in the 2024 team photo. You get discount room bookings, and you also get money can't buy match day experiences for £1,000. Paul,
say that again, Rob. Sorry, I've had to move
documentaries again.
No, I've had to move downstairs and charge my thing up. Sorry. No charger upstairs. My battery just flashed in 10%, so I thought better dad upstairs. Go on, sorry, Rob.
So I said, founder option, you get the two to be part of the 2024 team photo. You can book rooms at the Salford City Stadium, and you get money can't buy experiences at the club for £1,000.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good to me. I mean, it's a bit like that squad builder thing, that, isn't it? That was a bit like that, wasn't it? Similar sort of thing. But yeah, you put money in, you get these sort of, it's £1,000, but they're like mega things, aren't they? Them getting you on the team picture with the players. It's like, yeah, sounds good to me. That just to raise £1,000 now.
And then, if you want to be part of the President's Club, that's £10,000, and they'll tailor your things about what you get for that kind of money, Parky. But that's probably more targeted at businesses really than individuals. You might have £10,000 laying on in the drawer next year, and you think, you know what, I'll pop that in to Paul King on Monday. But I think for that kind of thing, it's probably for businesses, and it's about exposure for them, really, because obviously you can use being a President Club owner to your advantage in your own business and networking.
Yeah, let me just check that drawer.
Yeah,
no, I mean, it is more or less, it is for business, and it's a great way of, depending on what the benefits are from it, you can get other people involved, as in, some of your business clients and that kind of thing, or reward your staff, or what, you say, employee of the month gets, whatever, a day out of the match and meal, and I don't know how they're going to do it, but I mean, obviously for the average fan, £100 is the minimum, and probably what most people would end up putting in. I'd suspect. I mean, people will put more in. People have a little bit flusher. £1,000. It's not out of the madness of realms. It's fine. £1,000 over for a year is not too bad. And then you got the £10,000, which again, like you said, I mean, for some people, yeah, why not? There are people involved in Salford Rugby League who probably already put that in every year in one way or another. So it's just another way. But yeah, they've got to set limits somewhere, haven't they? And targets and so on. So yeah, I'm sure local businesses in the area will benefit from that and put the money in.
Yeah. So sad news reached us this week. A Salford great, Mike Coulman, passed away. Paul, a tremendous character, a friend of the show, a great man.
Yeah, it was sad because Mike's been pretty poorly for a while now, with his illness and that he's had. So, yeah, it's been sad. He's struggled with that for a while. And, speaking to people, I think of a certain generation, I think Mike's the hero, isn't he? Massive hero of that team of the 70s, played for Salford for such a long time. I think he's the 3rd top appearance maker of all time, Mike. So yeah, really sad news, him passing away. And yeah, he's an absolute gentleman as well. I think everyone who's ever met him, I'll tell you that. Really, really lovely, warm, sort of humble person. When I first spoke to him, I was in awe of him, really, because my dad had told me all about him and what have you. And you expect, somebody to be like, I don't know, you don't expect to be as humble as he was. And he was just lovely, just really, really nice, and sort of asking me how I was and not really sort of going on about his career. He's more concerned about how you were and what you were doing. So, yeah, there's not many people about that. And he'll be sadly missed.
Yeah, obviously his funeral's, was it Rochdale Crematorium, Paul?
Yeah, it's on Monday the 15th of May, 1:20, and it's at Rochdale Crematorium. For people who are not too sure where it is, if you go into the old Rochdale Hornets, Rochdale football ground, if you go up the main road, you come to a pub called the Cemetery on you, just right in front of you. Well, the crem's there just on the left, just on Sandy Lane, so it's right near the old Spotland ground.
Parky, tremendous player for us, iconic in the 70s in the Quality Street gang. Our thoughts are with his friends and family at this time.
Oh, absolutely. When I heard the news the other night, and I messaged Paul straight away to see, because I knew he'd have the lowdown. Didn't know if you heard things. Absolutely devastated. When you use the word legend, a lot of the time, it can be used as a joke, or it can be, for whatever reason. Mike fits it in every single reason there's ever been. As a player, obviously, an unbelievable forward, a man mountain in many ways, but more in the way that even now you can start a conversation in a pub, and anyone mentions that Salford, and you'll get somebody's house to go in the 70s, and it will be like a bit like a Law Best Charlton sort of thing, if you like. They go, Watkins, Dixon, Coulman. Straight away, Mike Coulman's name is there. He is a legend. I'm like Paul. I lived off stories that my dad had told me, and my oldest brother, Stevie. They obviously watched him through that period. Obviously, a great player, a leader in a pack. And it will be sadly missed. But I want to echo what Paul said as well about him being a gentleman. I had the honour to meet him a couple of times at the Willows, once at the AJ Bell. Spoke to him, very mild man, a bit of a gentle giant in many ways. But I was the same. I was just I wanted to listen to him, I wanted to talk to him, but he wasn't somebody who would brag. He wouldn't boast. He didn't, even though he'd had the career he'd had. So yeah, very going to be very sadly missed, obviously, by everyone and at the club. And we hopefully those who did get to see him, who were lucky enough to watch him in his prime, can keep regaling us with these stories, because long live the memory of these kind of guys. And I just want to send my condolences to his family.
So that's the end of part one of this week's Devil in the Detail podcast. Big thanks for tuning in, and we'll be back soon for part two. So if you want to join us or listen to our content, you can find us on Facebook, Devil in the Detail SRD. You can find us on Twitter at DITDSRD. And you can find us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Radio Contact, Spotify, and YouTube. See you soon.